welcome to this edition of Sunday Night Live, the automotive show where we bring you all things automotive. Everybody knows their piece of it, but rarely does anybody know the other guy's piece of it or the other gal's piece of it. And what I try to do is bring all of the pieces together, variable ops, fixed ops, so that everybody knows how all of those pieces fit together. So today I have the pleasure of having Ira Levin and Scott Crawford from Guidepoint Systems on the show. And we're going to talk about Guidepoint Systems, but more specifically, what's in it for you? An easy way to add profits to your F&I department with non-cancelable product and a better way to manage your lot. You know, there are a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces in a dealership, and you can't always have every finger on every piece of it. So why not leverage technology to be able to be more of a manager of the process than the fireman putting out all the fires? So some of you may know these guys, some may not. So Ira, Scott, why don't you tell us a little bit about you so that the guys that don't know you or the gals that don't know you know a little bit about who you are.
Scott, go ahead.
Scott Crawford. I've been with Guidepoint for 5 years, and I've been in the auto business what seems like forever. My family owned a distribution outlet in Detroit, Michigan, and my first summer in the business was 1966, so I hate to own up to how long I go back. Primarily distributed parts and accessories. We did AC, Delco, Motorcraft way back when, and accessories forever. Gosh, when I started, we were selling power brake units and rear view mirrors because none of those were standard on the vehicles way back then. And you guys know what the business is like now, up through the years with remote starts, running boards, tonneau covers, a little bit of everything. But like I said, been with Guidepoint 5 years and made the change from aftermarket to OE. And it's really nice to be on this side of the fence with OE. It's nice being the best instead of making excuses why you should buy me instead of the OE perfect product. So anyways, over 40 years full-time in the business, and I'll hand off to you, Ira. You can segue into Guidepoint too.
There you go. Well, thanks, Scott. So again, my name is Ira Levin. Been in the auto business since 1988. Son of a car dealer, so I cut my teeth probably in detailing cars and taking the visqueen off of Volkswagens that came over the port in the state of Florida. So been doing it for a long time. Worked for Chrysler Financial for close to 30 years. Migrated from Florida all the way to Detroit under Daimler Chrysler. My last position was senior manager of marketing with responsibilities for residual value planning, incentive planning, and the budgets of the retail side of the business with the OE. Left in 2009 when Chrysler Financial ceased to exist due to the Obama administration, and took a position with a private company who ran the sales and marketing arm of Chrysler Service Contracts. So my responsibility for 9 years was running the sales division of Chrysler Service Contracts, which turned into Mopar Vehicle Protection. 2016, after learning a lot about reinsurance and a lot about the agent business, already knowing the dealer business, decided to become an agent myself. And then I had already known the owner of Guidepoint through my relationship with FCA, and he asked me if he'd be interested in partnering on a business channel. And so we developed the agent channel, if you will, partnering with the TPAs and whatnot. And so what we're going to be talking about today is a little bit of that, the evolution of Guidepoint a little bit, and then basically how you can make money on GPS. So with that, should I just kind of kick into it, Paul? Or
yeah, hold on one second. We got a couple. Michael Landis says hello, Michael. Ed Roberts, hello all. Kenneth Dunner from Sugar Land, Texas. Hello, Tully Williams. Hello all. I hope Paul is feeling better. So for those of you that knew, I was rushed to the hospital by ambulance yesterday with a severe kidney stone issue. But a little bit of morphine later. It seems that that stone may have passed because after the morphine wore off, I had no more pain, and I've not taken any of the pain medication. So my guess is that that little sucker was working its way out when it knocked me to the ground yesterday morning. So I have felt no pain since yesterday morning. So I think I'm in good shape. So with that, Ira, definitely let's kick it off.
All right, I've got a couple slides just so it makes it a little bit easier for everybody to follow along. Certainly, I see only the slides, so if there's questions, feel free to interrupt me, Paul. You can moderate, just kind of cut in. I'm an East Coast guy at heart, so if you're breathing, I'm talking. A little bit about Guidepoint, just as an overview. We are one of the only people in the GPS space with OE relationships. And when I talk about OE relationships, we are a tier 1 supplier to FCA and Mopar, as well as Nissan, meaning we sell our product to Chrysler dealers and Nissan dealers under Mopar and Nissan's brands. We vendor ship direct. It's our product, and we private label for the OEs. Why is that important? Obviously, they are vetted us out in a number of different instances, and I'll walk you through what that looks like for you as an individual. But the quality of our product is uncompromised in the GPS space. Being on the platforms, they are very careful about devices that are linked into their vehicles, what it will do from a standpoint of power management. Yes. I'm sorry, I thought somebody said something. What the device will do with regard to power management, as well as other interactions with regard to the CAN bus, the computer of the vehicle, if you will. So we'll get into that a little bit. We also partner with a company called Dealerware. Not sure if those of you that are familiar with Dealerware, they are owned by Silvercar, which is owned by Audi. We partner with them on the loaner and rental management program. They're one of the leading rental management platforms in the United States. They do business with Mercedes, obviously Volkswagen and Audi, JLR, Jaguar Land Rover, Bentley. So we are in a number of those manufacturers through Dealerware. So again, when you talk about a product that's in the space, we are in almost every make and model out there. What's important to know about that is while we source parts from around the world, our product is constructed in Houston, Texas. Our firmware is written in the United States, and our testing is done in the United States. Again, having the OE relationship means that we have to be tested and vetted. So we do actual vehicle trials on all of our products. We also have a division, GPSI Mexico. For those of you that potentially are on fringe states, why is this important? We have the ability to recover vehicles in Mexico. We do a lot of business in Texas on the fringe states where vehicles wind up in Mexico. The ability for us to actually go and recover a vehicle is important. What the shape the vehicle's in when we recover it may be in a whole other set of circumstances. The fact that we have some cooperation and the ability to recover there is important. We also operate our own 24/7, 365 call center, which is important to the consumer, dealer, as well as yourselves. We provide our own technical support. We don't farm anything out. For larger stores, and obviously, we're one of the only companies out there that have the ability to really private label, and we've done so with some larger organizations, whether it be just collateral, just because the dealer wants to have collateral in their name, or it's our user interface, our smartphone app, or our website could be branded as well. Talk quickly about.
I could just jump in 1 second.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, a couple important things to realize here is that dealerships, there's a lot of groups today that have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of cars, and managing those cars, like finding them where they are, knowing, if you have several hundred cars, a lot of these cars sit around the lot. You've got to know when you've got dead batteries. You've got to know when cars disappear. I used to work years ago at a dealership And one of the guys, one of the lot guys had a thriving rental business. Now, it wasn't a type of rental business where, you got a receipt for the car. It was kind of on a handshake and a dollar bill. So it's critically important to know where all your cars are. And of those times when cars get stolen, timing is always critical, right? Finding the car in a few hours as opposed to finding the car a few weeks later, there's a big difference in what you're going to find. So I just wanted to put that into perspective. And then with the loaner fleets and the rental fleets, that's another animal altogether. And that's what this product manages very effectively.
Another piece to that, Paul, is a floor plan audit. Any of the dealers that have to go through a floor plan audit, this turns that into a 2 or 3 day nightmare into a couple of hours. You know exactly where everything is. Can give it to them in an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
And typically, as we all know that are on the call, if you've got any such goings on with a dealer, process from an inventory management perspectives are usually poor. Cars are all over the place, and typically every dealership wants inventory management. I haven't found a dealership that wants to pay for inventory management. So what becomes important is, can you sell the product to a consumer? Can it be a high margin product for the dealer? So that way those dealers that see the value in the inventory management can pay for it. And then ultimately, as an agent or an entrepreneur or an independent contractor, you can make money doing so. And that's kind of what we're going to walk you through here in the next few minutes. Product, just simply put, and you might have seen something like this if you've been in the dealerships lately. When you bring your car into service, they plug a device into the OBD2 port of your vehicle. It's called an OBD2 reader. It reads a lot of information from the CAN bus, the computer of the car. Our device operates very similarly. All right. So this is an actual OBD2 reader. Most of the competitive landscape out there does not even have anything remotely near this product. All right. We were one of the first ones to introduce it, and we've continued to develop that. And it is going to be our primary product at some point in time in the future. While we have some OE products and some subprime products, this will be the product of the future. For inventory management, as you can see, it simply can just be plugged into the OBD2 of the car. Now, some cars, it does stick out and it's noticeable. So there's a permanent bypass harness that's available, and that's also used for permanent installation upon sale. But at no point in time do you have to use the harness if you don't want to. So, and oh, by the way, our harness is a bypass harness. It's OEM vetted. We do not splice or cut wires in any of our installation processes unless you're looking at a subprime device where you're looking for a starter interrupt or something like that, and you have to wire it into the starter. As far as what the future, holds, this is a 4G LTE product. People will ask, well, what about 5G? 4G is going to be around probably, who knows, maybe another 10 years. It just comes down to the speed of things. And quite frankly, we're not really on the cell side of the network with what we're doing. While there's a SIM card in these devices, we communicate through CAD-M on another side of the cell tower, because the cellular companies, they don't want us interfering with their cell services. So they have us, on a whole nother slice of the band, if you will. CAN interface. Why is this important? The reason it's important is because the computer of the car has the ability, if the OE or the make and model choose to share it, provides you the battery voltage, it provides you true mileage of the vehicle, it provides you fuel level of the vehicle. It'll also provide you DTCs, diagnostic trouble code. We'll talk a little bit about maintenance, loyalty, and retention in a little bit. The other thing that makes this device nice, it's over-the-air upgradable. As we have new firmware, we push it out over the air. And when the vehicle's turned on, it gets the most updated firmware. Got a battery backup inside of it. So if somebody should steal a car off a lot, throw it out the window, guess what? We'll be able to find it on the other side of the road. But if we're lucky enough and they just throw it in the back seat, it could be driving around and we'd still know where that vehicle is from the device in the back seat of the car. It's an automotive graded architecture, and most importantly, dark current 70 microamps. This is an industry leading number. We do not kill batteries. And when you find that there's dealers out there that you may do business with that are using some type of product, I guarantee you, if there's number one, they're probably splicing wires in most instances. And number two, they're probably seeing low battery issues. All right. And that's because they splice into the wire. And oh, by the way, these devices stay hot and they never stop drawing power. Our devices go to sleep. They wake up and give us a heartbeat notification on a daily basis if they're in inventory. And again, state-of-the-art vehicle architecture and firmware. So that's really it about the device. What I want to get into is kind of why GPS, right? So there's dealer benefits, there's consumer benefits, there's also agent and contractor benefits. Why GPS? Dealers around the United States are all looking for non-cancelable F&I products that have high margin. All right, chargebacks are, as you all know, prevalent. Turnover in the auto industry is prevalent. Who gets on the hook for the chargeback? It's always the dealer. And so they're looking to find out, or find a couple products that are not cancelable. Now, again, I will never tell you GPS is going to be a 70% penetration product in a dealership. But in that 10 to 15% range, you're going to find some people that you either sell on the product or you'll find hand raisers, people that want it just because you explain to them what it is. So I'll talk about the dealer benefits just quickly. Again, high profit, high margin F&I Profit program. It's a value add for consumers, right? From a dealership perspective, multi-lot geofencing. If they're looking for their cars, they got cars all over the place. They've got multiple lots. I've got dealerships that are upward with 6-7 lots, right? Simple installation, no cut and splice wires, lot management, security. I can eliminate thefts and losses. I can certainly put you in contact with dealer principals that will flat out tell you that we've helped them get their cars back. Dynamic inventory management from a reporting perspective. I mean, we can almost report you to death. It's almost, overkill because unfortunately we're kind of nichey and every dealer that asks for a little something, we try to do what we can for them. So we've probably got a couple of reports that we probably don't even need to have. They're just niche to a couple dealers. Access via mobile devices. So again, salesman's access at the dealership level. Again, non-cancelable, non-refundable, and promotes customer attention by driving traffic through the service department. I'm going to tell you about a couple things that we're doing that we're enhancing that will be done by the end of the year. We're coming up, we're doing an interim refresh to our user application. We're launching a new website, which will have all the same functionality. It'll just be updated, look a lot nicer. And then we'll have an entire new user interface by year end. Our mid-year refresh for the user interface, we are going to add to some of the things I'm going to talk about on the right in a minute. We're going to add live track, where you can click on your car and you'll actually see it moving, similar to Uber. Most GPS companies, because of the data management thereof, report on a minute and a half, a 2-minute sequence when the car is moving. We're going to drive that down to probably between 5 and 10 seconds when the car is moving, and actually, show that vehicle actually live tracking. Instant crash notification, we're bringing into the mix. We're in the middle of testing that now, where our call center will notify us, or the device will notify the call center if a hard brake situation has occurred that's excessive. And what we'll do is the first couple of weeks, we'll start calling our customers to see, how tightly we're in tune with that, to see if, there was actually an accident. And again, if there's no accident, that's great. But if there is an accident, at least we're calling the customer and we're sending emergency notifications and emergency personnel. Nice feature. And then, of course, driving behaviors. You see a lot on TV and in your phone app, driving behaviors, hard stops, fast starts, all that kind of stuff. And again, part of the largest consumer benefit is it's a parent's peace of mind. I've got a 17-year-old just graduated high school and a 21-year-old just graduated college. And for the last 3 years, they've each had them in their car, and they know it's in there. And it's no more for them, but it's for my peace of mind. Right? My daughter goes to the campus, comes out at 9 o'clock from a class, and I have to watch on the news where, there's the creepers following the girls to their cars. And, so I know she's gotten in the car. I know the car started up. I know it's left the geofence. My son plays high school basketball. I know if he's 10 o'clock at the gym, he's at 10 o'clock, it's at the gym, right? Versus at his girlfriend's or whatever the case may be. So,
Ira,
yes, sir.
Here's the great thing. So you've got this device that you can preload on your cars on the lot at the dealership. So simplifying to know where that one car out of 800 is at any given time. You don't have to worry about, does that car have a dead battery when the salesperson goes to test drive it, or where is the car when you need it? Bank reconciliation, all of that stuff. And then when the customer buys it, they get a subscription for just what Ira was explaining. So you can set up things so that if the car needs to stay out of a particular area, you can set it up so that, hey, you know what? You're not supposed to go to that area, and I'm sure you weren't in the car, but your car just went there, right?
Yeah.
Years ago, my daughter, when she was young and the boys started showing interest, I said, okay, so where are you going? You're going to the library. Okay, call me in a half hour. Dad, call me in a half hour. So sure enough, the first half hour came and I got the phone call. Hey, everything okay? Yeah, everything's great. All right, call me in a half hour. But Dad, I just called you. She didn't call. An hour went by, she didn't call. So I called the library, had her paged. Well, instantly my phone rang. She said, Dad, that's so embarrassing. You called and had me paged. So had I had that, I wouldn't have to worry about it, because now I know, without her having to tell me, exactly where the car is and where she is. So tremendous peace of mind as a parent.
Peace of mind.
That's an awesome tool.
I mean, and listen, their phones are always going dead. So you can say you got the phone. Come 11 o'clock at night, oh, Dad, my phone was dead. Dad, my phone was dead. Your daughter, Dad, the phone was dead. And my Jeep's sitting at a club in downtown Detroit. Right? Your phone don't go dead. I pay for the phone. I pay for the Mophie. I pay for the car. Pay for the insurance. I pay for the gas. No dead phone. But from a consumer standpoint, again, parents' peace of mind, immediate GPS location of the vehicle. Not only do we know where the vehicle is, but because we have your cell phone, when you call us, we know where your cell phone is. So if you're walking to their car and somebody's following you, you can actually call us, and we could call emergency personnel and tell the police we've got him on the phone, and here's where the car is parked. So she's walking to the car, he's walking to the car. There's a lot of things that we can do. So again, family safety and security features, low battery alert. Where's the DTC codes come into play? Well, my daughter would run that Jeep on no oil for the next 6 weeks. That oil light could come on, she couldn't give her rats, right? The engine could blow. Dad, something's wrong. My car won't move. So for me, and listen, my wife, I'll just make sure she's not in the house. My wife, not far off of the same thing, right? She don't want to know, right? If the engine light goes on, it's, oh, my engine light's on. You take care of it, right? This way, at least I know what the trouble code is. Is it something I have to deal with right away? Again, I travel. So diagnostic trouble codes is important. Emergency assistance we talked about. It's transferable between vehicles. So again, you can buy it, take it out of one car, put it in the other car, boom, it'll boot right up in the other car. Insurance discounts. Every insurance company will give you a discount for GPS. Now the difference is you probably have to ask for it. Just like mine, they don't come out and ask you if you have GPS, in your vehicle. The other thing is we have available to us and your fingertips a $5,000 theft benefit. I like to look at this as like etch on steroids for car dealers. They've been selling $5,000 theft benefits for years with really no product. Etch is, I got to tell you, probably 70% of the time is not even applied to the car anymore, right? They're selling etch. They're selling interior and exterior and fab today without even putting products on the car in states. They're warranting manufacturers fit and finishes. So again, for a dealership that can sell products, here you got a $5,000 theft benefit, which is actually a 3-2, 3,000 to the consumer, 2,000 to tie back to the selling dealer. So we drive them back to the selling dealer. It's got roadside assistance. It's got all the other goodies to it. Flat out language in there. Underwritten by Warrantech, which is now owned by Amenta, was AmTrust. So again, they're well rated. It's not not some fly paper. So everything we tried to put together for a program is on the up and up. If you've got a dealer that doesn't want inventory management, we can work a sell-through program. I'm very comfortable just selling, 10 devices a month through a dealership. If it works for the dealership and the dealership can be profitable, if it works for you as an individual and as an agent or a contractor, and you can be profitable and you want to install them and that works for you that way, whatever the case may be, we're flexible. There's not one sales model that, I prefer over another. You'll find that there's companies out there that prefer a preload because the way they have their structured program is such that at a 30% penetration, they break even. So they try to force a preload with a certain pen. It's not a 30% penetration product. Never is, never was, never will be. There are some dealers that do that because they've committed to selling it as part of the addendum and they make it part of their process. But from a finance perspective, if you present it 100% of the time, the numbers are still what, 15%, 10? And if you don't present it 100% of the time and you really demo it properly at a dealership level, you'll get 10% hand raisers. There isn't an Escalade out there that isn't sold where somebody, because they've got kids, right? Well, guess what? Somebody's going to be driving that Escalade with 4 or 5 other kids in it, right? If you've got a Porsche, somebody's driving your Porsche. We have actually a valet parking mode. So you valet park your high-end car. We're on McLarens. We're on Rolls-Royces, Bentleys. You valet park, again, being an FCA partner, Hellcats, these 700 horsepower Dodges. You valet park them, you want to know if somebody's out joyriding in your Hellcat, right? You set up valet parking mode, you're sitting there at dinner, boom, you get an instant notification, whether it be a push notification, a text, an email. You can set up all your stuff the way you want to do it. And it's only going to get that much more robust. We're gonna roll out our new app, here before the end of the year. It's just going to be that much more exciting as a company. And again, we will never be everything to everybody. But as an agent or a dealership that's interested in GPS, I believe Guidepoint is the best game out there. We definitely have the best product in the marketplace. And if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a product, i.e., whether it be, I always call it, and I talked to Paul and Scott earlier today, I look at this as either offensive or defensive. You're either going to sell it offensively because you're looking for a non-cancelable product that you want to share, or a way to get into a door where you don't have business at a dealership, or you're doing it defensively because guess what? Somebody else is going to walk into your dealership with a GPS product, and the second they sign the dealer up on GPS, what's next? It's Gap, right? It's Tire and Wheel. It's VSC. It's Lifetime. So that's really the GPS story. There's a lot of value to having it in your arsenal as a product.
Now I like the mileage in real time thing, right?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, 7 out of 10 customers do not go back to the dealer for service.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great to know when all of your customers are due for service in real time?
Oh, yeah.
So not only can we do that, Paul, we actually have the ability to send the consumer an email. So we have a marketing side of the maintenance piece. So if you got a DTC code, so say my daughter's car, the oil light goes on.
Yeah.
It's in my name. I'm going to get an email from Guidepoint saying engine light is on. Might not give me the DTC because they don't want me to take self-help. right? But at the same time, we have an email address for somebody at the dealership in the business development center, and we're sending that email to the dealership. And oh, by the way, in our email alert to the consumer is also, when you click on it, the URL right to the service scheduler for the dealership and the phone number for the dealership that they bought it from. Customer moves, hey, you can go in and change your dealer location and whatnot. But our goal is to drive the customer that bought our product back to the dealership for every interaction. That's our goal.
Now, here's the great part, right? So if you know what the mileage is, you're going to send out the reminders at the right time. Now,
Yep.
I drive, now, not the last 3 months, but generally speaking, depending on the year, it could be as little as 25,000 miles per year, it could be as much as 40,000 miles per year. So I get these generic reminders from my dealer that never, ever line up with when my cars actually due for service. So I'm sure I'm not the only one. But guess what? There's so much noise today. If you get notifications in real time that are relevant, that tie to your car, I mean, you're looking out for your customer better, right?
So we'll have two ways. We'll have two ways to create that interaction, Paul. We'll have a global set of notices, actually 3 ways. A global set of notices that's in our maintenance screen, where if you want to send all your customers, please visit, Paul's Dodge for service. We could send that every 4,000, every 5,000, every 6,000 miles. We could send it every 6 months, whatever the case may be, a global message. We have the manufacturer set of standards that we can use. We're also partnering with HomeNet, which is a Cox company, which will allow us to pull a lot of real information into our app. So we'll have some of that available. And then we're going to try and make this a little more consumer-centric, so that if you want to set up, hey, listen, I know it's synthetic oil. I know I've got 7,500 miles. The dealer's going to get a hold of me every 3,000 miles. But I want to know when it's 7,500 miles. You can set that up for yourself.
Now we got a couple of things coming in here. Let's see here. Tully says, hope Paul is feeling better. Yes. And Ron Usher's got the double thumbs up emojis. Kenneth says, I see everyone is looking so suave, debonair, sophisticated, stellar, distinguished, looking handsomely gorgeous too. Okay, a lot to take in. Russ says, glad to see you're upright, Paul. Hello, everyone. Sean Banks says, good evening. And Ron Usher has a good question. He says, how is it theft proof? Can your kids take it out of their car and put it in their friend's car?
So again, it's a great question. So nothing is theft proof. Now I have it in my kid's car, and I have it just plugged in. Now my kids know they're in there. They know what I do. They know that I pay for the car and it's not coming out. And so if I see it come out, I'll get it's called a power cut notification. So if they unplug it, I'll get a notice. I'll get a power cut notification. But typically what you would do is you would take it out of the OBD when it was sold, and you would harness it in underneath the dash. And for instance, I've got a friend of mine that got one for his son's car, and he didn't tell his son, and they took it to a little place that does some mechanical work. And in 10 minutes, he dropped the OBD2, he wire harnessed it underneath the dash, and his son has no idea that it's in there. And it's actually, it's showing up in my account as a demo, and so I know where his kid is. And then I gave him, access to my account. But yeah, so unless you knew to look for it under a dash, once it's harnessed in, you wouldn't find it. You wouldn't know what to look for. You'd start pulling wires.
Because it's a pass-through unit that way, and so the OBD port is still available. So when you pull in, they don't have to unplug anything to plug their tech tool.
The permanent install is the OBD2 port is available. You'll never see it, and it's just a bypass.
Diagnostics in the service department are still easy. They just plug right in. To answer that guy's question, though, can you flip it or change it from car to car? The answer is yes. And as Ira said, if it's just simply plugged into the OBD2 directly in, it's a simple switch. If you did want to run it in multiple cars, if it is harnessed in, it's going to be a little more difficult, but it's still relatively easy. And that depends on the individual. If they put it in the car and they don't want anybody to know it's there. But if his question was, hey, he's out with his buddy and we'd like him to flip it in the other car so we know where that car is, yeah, you can do that.
What other types of questions are out there? Are there any questions out there? So now this has an app as well, Ira?
Yeah, so it's got a user interface, cell phone. So you got Android, iOS, as well as Android. You log in, it'll remember you. It'll have your vehicle on the main page. It has a map. It'll do trips, valet parking mode. It's got a camera if you want to save your parking spot. I travel a lot. Sometimes I don't necessarily get to my preferable parking spot at Detroit Metro, and I wind up in another garage or whatever that I'm not really used to. So I take a picture of where I'm going and I leave it in the app. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. The driving behaviors that'll be in there. We're going to have in the new app, you'll be able to store a lot of information. There's areas of the country that require registration information when your car went through certain state inspections. We'll have areas to keep that information in there, all in the app. Dealer information. We'll have be able to store your contract, the theft contract in a folder. Any other paperwork from the dealership in a folder if you want to keep that in there. So we're going to make this thing pretty robust, and we're continuing to look at the next gen features.
So if a dealer decides to preload them,
Mm-hmm.
and he can set up pretty much the type of reporting that they want.
Absolutely. So we have multiple lot views. For instance, I'll just give you an example of one dealership in California. They have a PDI lot. All the vehicles are dropped about 5 miles away. They're in a actual auto park. So they're landlocked. So their main lot, they have their main lot geofence. They have a back lot, which is the back of the dealership. Then they have a back storage lot that's in the auto park where they share with the Chevy dealership. So half of that lot is geofenced. They just built a Ram truck lot caddy corner to the dealership. So we have that lot geofenced. So they have 5 different geofences. So if you're a salesperson and you're looking for a car, immediately you can pull up your smartphone and you can find out if that car is in the main lot, the back lot, the storage lot, over at PDI, over at the Ram lot. And you'd be surprised whether you have a specific truck lot or not. You'd be surprised what winds up behind the truck.
So you can set up specific designated lots. So if the new arrivals, they're in lot A, let's say.
Yeah.
The cars that have been there for 120 days could be in lot C.
They could be all over the place. You could pull a list of just your age vehicles based on installation date of the device. And part of what we're going to do with HomeNet is be able to integrate financial information. So we'll be able to get your floor plan date. So we'll be able to tell you the true age of the vehicle through HomeNet, be able to share that information with you, give you an option whether you're using stock number or last date of the VIN. If you want to use a stock photo or if you're using custom photos, we want to try and put the dealer's website at the salesperson's fingertips. There's a lot of dealers that are out there that are interested in how the vehicle's moving through their lot. So a car gets checked in, a used car, for instance. How long does it spend in make ready? How long does it spend in service? Does it get over to the body shop? How long does it take before that used car gets to the front line? Are they being efficient? So those are some of the things that we can help with. It's a little bit of a different mixed bag. Every dealership we go to, we get a little bit of a different request. But the reality still is, as robust as inventory management is, And as much as we can support your efforts, it's a process, and the dealer has to strap on for the process and designate somebody to manage the process. And they don't want to pay for it. So you got to help them sell it through. So you have to have a product that is, desirable by the consumer so that the dealer can sell enough through to make inventory management either palatable, pay for itself, or profitable.
Well, here's how I look at it also. Now, dealers, one of the things that a lot of dealers struggle with is floor plan. Maybe not when there's a shortage of cars, but up until the period of time before there was a shortage of cars, because there's always good and bad in every situation, right?
No doubt.
So you get knocked down with one thing, and then all of a sudden you get battered in another. But we will get back to normal. And, we'll be back to those floor plan woes, right? Dealers spend stupid money on floor plans. So
we can help with aged inventory audits. Again, how much time does a sales manager or general manager, how much time do they spend on inventory audits?
A lot.
And they always forget the car that they had with, Coach Greg. And, oh, by the way, somebody swapped Coach Greg out a week ago, and they're looking for that car for like a week.
Yeah. How many times at a store you're looking for a car and nobody knows where it is?
Right. Or you have to cut a check to the finance company because you can't locate it.
Listen, I've got dealers that have inventory management today where I have to send an email. Because, again, as an agent or as an independent contractor, as a partner of the dealer, I know what they're good at and I know what they're not good at. I look at their off-lot report, and if I see that same car there 3 or 4 times, I send an email to the dealer principal. I don't send it to the person that's supposed to say, hey, you know what? This car's been off-lot for 2 weeks. What's up? Did you sell it? Next picture show is, we don't know. We don't even know where the car is. We don't know who's supposed to have it. Guess what? Here it is. Here's where it's parked. Go get it.
And the other great thing also is that this will tell you when you have a lot of cars, not all of them get moved all the time. So if one's running low on juice, it's going to tell you that, because at the store, you're on the hook for the battery, right? If a battery sells for $148 retail, it still costs you a good buck that you have to spend on that car. Now, we got a couple things coming in. Ron says, is this the same as insurance companies use to track your driving habits, like the sudden stop motions and things like that?
I don't know exactly what the insurance company is using from a device perspective, but it could be very similar in the respect that they're driving a score, right? So inside a device, there's a number of different pieces to the puzzle, but an accelerometer, if you will. Right? An accelerometer is in your phone, in these devices, so it can measure the distance the vehicle's moved, after you hit your brakes or when you start speeding, that type of thing. And I'm sure that they're doing some type of a similar math equation. I just don't know what that is. So I want to say yes and I want to say no at the same time, because I'm sure they're not doing all the same things we're doing.
They're not. They may not be tracking mayhem.
Well, they might not have. Again, they might be calculating certain information. They might not have the same type of antenna, backup battery. They're not looking at geofencing and GPS, that type of thing. They're looking at it from just the standpoint of trying to get a driver score, if you will.
Well, there's enough $100,000 SUVs out there to definitely make this something of interest to any parent who's got a kid that's going to be driving that car.
Listen, my kids are in somebody's car every day. Let's face it, kids are kids.
Ron Over says, Paul, great to see you upright. Units like these continue to get better and better.
Oh, that's true.
Thank you, Ron. Yeah, no pain since yesterday, man. So I'm a happy guy.
That mean you're healthy, or the morphine hasn't worn off?
No, I'm sure the morphine wore off about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. What's interesting is that stuff, it makes the pain go away, but that's really all it does.
Yeah, masks the pain.
That's all it does. But it works for me. So is this something that they stock in the parts department, or is immediately when you order a certain amount and it goes right into the cars? Or is that up to the dealer?
It's completely up to the dealership. A dealership that'll preload generally will bring it in through parts department, and then parts gets to add a little bit on. They'll run it through their make ready department. It doesn't really require skilled labor for installation, so we try to walk away from having techs do the install. But you got some dealerships that they like every department to get a little piece of the action. So parts will get a $10 bill, service will get a $15 bill, and they'll just bring it to the front of the house at a little $25 higher cost.
And then when they sell it to the consumer, is it by the month, by the year? How does something like that?
Yeah. So we have terms. We have terms all the way from 1 to 7 years. Typically, I focus on 3 and 5, and the reason being is 1 year I don't like when I just don't like it. But when a dealer sells a customer something for $1,200-$1,400 and they get a year of service, and all of a sudden, I don't think that reflects very well on my dealer. That 11 months later, this customer still has the car. They got a 5-year loan, and they bought something for $1,000. It doesn't work anymore. You know what I mean? So
you tie it to the term.
Yeah, I like 3 and 5 years, and that way, even if you're doing 70, 72, and 84-month financing, these people are trying to flip out in 48 months. You're just doing that because you're hitting a pain, and not because people really want an 84-month term. So these people are looking to flip it. So 3-year, 5-year, and I also feel like it's keeping it simple, right? Making it easy for F&I to sell. I've got dealers that only sell 5-year terms. That's it. They sell for 5 years, nothing else.
Well, let me tell you something. 0% for 84 months. There's not too many people going to be flipping anything unless you're flipping it on the interstate.
Well, I understand.
Yeah, especially with the number of cars that are out there that are strung out so long. It's the good and the bad. Yes, you can put somebody in the car now, but you kind of locked them in that car for 7 years with no money down, 0%. Not a lot of equity that's built there anytime.
Listen, like I said, my background's auto finance. There isn't an incentive that isn't out there that can't drive something.
What other types of questions out there? Has anybody out there used one of these devices before? I had used one from another company. Hey, Chad Harrison, TBC, TCB. I had used one from another company, and the problem with that one was that there was something with I couldn't see where my car was in relation to where I was. So these things are definitely not all created the same. Is this like a Google Maps type of?
Right. So we use a couple different companies, but from a view perspective, it's Google Maps. From actual pinpointing and driving perspective, we use a company called Mapbox because it gives you a little bit more accuracy when it comes to traveling. And again, so you'll find that a lot of companies out there, when you're moving, will ping the vehicle every 2 minutes because there's a lot of data that gets stored, right?
Yeah.
So by pinging every 2 minutes, let's face it, you could potentially, if you've got a little small lake, you could drive around that lake, but it looks like you went right through the lake because it took you 2 minutes to get around halfway, right?
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do is use companies that give us, the relative likelihood that you're staying on the road and all that kind of stuff. And again, it's not a perfect science, but we're trying to get as accurate as we possibly can for the consumer.
Now, another area that is important to a dealership is special finance.
Yep.
Any successful dealer today has a very successful special finance program. and you have the ability to have like an ignition kill, correct?
Starter disable.
Yeah, so we have another product. This particular product that I'm sharing with you, we don't have the starter interrupt, but we do have a subprime product that you can hardwire in that will kill the starter. You have to wire it into the battery and the starter, so obviously. And, you're supposed to, obviously disclose to the consumer when you do things like that, depending on the state. There's a number of different disclosures. A lot of new franchise dealers don't like getting involved in killing a starter. You'll find that more in the buy here, pay here realm.
I was going to say that.
But I do have, and this is actually recent, we do have a couple of dealers that purchased this product that we shared with you today. They're harnessing it in because what's happening is they're spot delivering a lot of vehicles, and they're not getting financed, and so they're having trouble getting their cars back. So they felt like the small investment to get their car back was important on subprime.
They like to have GPS on it until the check clears, so to speak.
Well, there's a certain peace of mind in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, there you go.
You got a $30,000 car going out the door. That's not something you want to be playing phone tag with to get your car back. Because
Right.
let's face it, as a dealership, we want that car on the road instantly. And sometimes we worry about the paper getting bought afterwards.
Sure.
Right? Not the way it should be, but let's face it, that's the reality. What happens a lot of times.
It's reality.
So if that doesn't work out, that customer's not sitting, they're driving your car. There's no incentive for them to bring it back 5 minutes later or wait by the phone for you to call and say, bring that car back.
Well, and plus we're living in an environment today where mortgages aren't necessarily being paid and reported. There are no foreclosures being registered. So there is a little bit of a different risk profile.
So we got a couple things coming in here. Chad says, hey, what's up, guys? He says it's the best on the market. Kenneth says, how much is this?
It's extra for you, Kenneth. Contact Paul. It's very affordable. Contact Paul, and he'd be more than happy to walk you through the pricing.
And Russ Mann says, I sold and trained on this product as a finance director. Added about $175 PVR on an inventory of about 800 units. Preloaded on the addendum and upsell in the box.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's a nice way to do it. That's a good chunk of money right there. And Sean,
I need that guy for a testimonial.
You need that guy for more than a testimonial, man.
No, I hear you.
One out of 6 cars have a nail in the tire, and he's got an awesome product for that.
All right.
Sean Banks says, yes, I've used Be Safe Mobile, no customer support, and never actually worked. How many products are out there that don't actually work that somebody's selling?
Well, you know what? There's a few. Again, I don't see any value in knocking anybody else's product. I mean, I'm familiar with what I'm doing, what we're doing as a company. I'm confident that, in this stage in my career with where I've been, I wouldn't associate myself with something that didn't work. It's not who I am, and it's not where I need to be in the auto industry. Not the legacy I'm going to leave. And so there are companies out there that do buy products from China that don't test and don't do the things that we do at Guidepoint. There are, it's like anything else, right?
They're not all tier 1 companies, are they?
No. And let me tell you, it costs you more, right? There's definitely, there's the cost difference, and there's the reason there's a cost difference, right? I mean, you can't build a Mercedes for what you can build a Kia for.
Paul, you hit it in the head earlier too. If you're having to buy batteries, they're not covered under warranty.
No.
You save $10 on the one end and lose 200 on the other.
There's products out there that the only way you can put them in a vehicle is if you tether it through a wire. So you're splicing wires. Honda will tell you right off the get-go that if you put anything in that car where you're splicing a wire, you're voiding their warranty. So anybody that's out there that's got a Honda dealership that's using a device where they're splicing wires probably doesn't even know they're voiding their customer's warranty.
And what's interesting is that, I, for one, have used the product, as well as Sean has used another product that didn't quite work as expected.
Yeah.
So I'd rather pay a couple of dollars more for something and know it's a good quality item than walk
And I'll be honest with you, when you get all through the entire program with everything we're offering, we're really not more expensive. It's actually we just got a well thought out program that makes sense, that works at the dealer level, and we're not trying to force any dealer into inventory management and preloading cars, because again, that's a cash flow situation. Anybody that wants to sell 5 or 10 through F&I a month, hey, you know what? That's great. You can pick up a little PVR. You make some money. We have the ability to be creative. We have a Guidepoint reloadable Visa card. A lot of dealers like to work these programs through F&I and like to spiff people and whatnot. We can manage that part of the program. Who over remits? We handle all the remittance of the contracts for you guys. It's seamless. We have APIs. We're out there doing it all.
The most appealing part for me on the fixed op side of things is the service retention piece of it.
Oh yeah.
That's just invaluable. Because we're all working to get the customers to come back to us for service.
Drive them back to the dealership.
Trouble codes, exact mileage, service reminder. That's all the relevant stuff that you cut through all the noise of everybody else.
And every dealer's looking at a CRM program trying to figure out how they hold on to their customer.
Yeah, and this is so simple.
Add it to prepaid maintenance. Bundle it with Listen, in the current environment, a perfect addendum would have safety and security, whether it be some type of a disinfectant program, right? Yeah. GPS, right? Safety and security, and prepaid maintenance.
Yeah.
You bundle those 3 things in your addendum, keep the customer in your house.
Well, we have a guest.
Uh-huh. All right.
Oreo. Hey, buddy. Say hi, Oreo. Oreo hangs out on my computer at nighttime.
Right.
All right, Oreo, back up, buddy. He also likes to step on my keyboard, so he's knocked me off of calls before. He's opened up videos just by stepping on the wrong key. So yeah, this has been awesome, man. This sounds like a really great product. It's certainly will help in a lot of areas where dealers are struggling today. And it's easy. You plug it in.
Anything that we can do to help support your efforts, let us know. Contact Paul. Again, we've got support for the product for yourselves throughout the U.S. So
we're going to put some links in this broadcast so that anybody has any questions, certainly reach out to me, Ira, or Scott, and we'll have some links in this so that it'll take you back to more information. But I'm always available. I'm one of those weird cats that's always up. It could be 2 in the morning. I'm up. As a matter of fact, I've had text conversations with Ed Roberts many times at like 2 in the morning.
Oh boy.
So there are some of us that are up at crazy hours of the night. Are there any other questions? Because it looks like we're coming up on the hour. Are there any other questions out there about the product, about implementation, any of that kind of stuff? If you think of it later, as often we do think about things after we've hung up the phone, then you can certainly reach out via message, phone, or write in this thread, and we'll respond to you. So thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate it. And Ira, Scott, thank you very much for sharing the information. Very valuable stuff.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next Sunday on Sunday Night Live. have another special guest coming up. I'll be announcing that trailer towards the end of the week. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your evening and have a successful week.
Thank you.
Paul. Be well.